Indeed, we must coexist. Hence the title of saying the coexistence of new energies or technologies, that of hydrogen with the oil and gas industry. As earlier introduced, my name is Frans Kalenga and I'm the head of Sustainable Energies at the National Oil Corporation of Namibia, and also part-time serves as a technical advisor to Honourable Tom Alweendo on green hydrogen and synthetic fuels. So, for the benefit of those that might not know what hydrogen is or green hydrogen is, I just wanted to give a hydrogen 101 to say that hydrogen has already been in existence, as the Commissioner has already alluded about the blue hydrogen, the grey hydrogen from the natural gas. Now, the difference between these two hydrogens, the color is not substantive, it's just the method on how it's being produced. So, to say, the difference between these two hydrogens that exist is the hydrogen that is found with natural gas comes with carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide and hydrogen. The hydrogen that comes from water, which now is deemed green, it's hydrogen and oxygen, which is clean, hence the clean coming from. Now, okay. So to explain this diagram is just to show what are the value chains of this hydrogen production. So you need power, which is from solar and from wind, and that power is passed through water. So this water potentially will have to desalinate or purify, whichever the source may be, with a process called electrolysis. Now that process splits the water into two, oxygen and hydrogen. The hydrogen in its purest form, without transforming it, it can be used as, or it can be transported via shipping, trucks, pipeline storage. Yes, there are different constraints to it that may arise, but that's besides the point. But however, this hydrogen can also be transformed with a combination of the same CO2 to give us synthetic fuels. Synthetic fuels are things like ethane, methane, propane, and these are also alternative fuels. Or you can combine it with nitrogen and it can give you ammonia. Ammonia can be used as a fuel, mostly in the shipping industry, or it can be used as a fertilizer. Now, the end use of this hydrogen, it's used in the steel industry, chemical industry, in the oil and gas refineries, in the transportation, as you are seeing per slide, and not limited to heating and power generation. Now, for you to understand the coexistence of oil and gas with hydrogen, you need to understand the evolution. And the big question is, can oil and gas coexist with hydrogen? The question is, can oil and gas coexist with hydrogen? The answer is yes. They've already been existing. It's nothing new. Now, we look at the evolution. We had coal, and then oil came, and then the electricity through renewables, and now hydrogen. Now, we need to understand that the evolution of this energy have existed not with one source, but with multiple at the same time. And just to dispel any concerns that hydrogen is not an energy source, so there's no way it can replace oil and gas. Hydrogen is an energy carrier, it's just a messenger. What could potentially replace oil and gas is renewable energy, solar panels, wind, because those are the energy sources. Now, there are countries that are currently coexisting there, forging forward to develop hydrogen projects, and they also have oil and gas. You can talk of the Saudi Arabia, the Oman, Australia, and Norway. And they all want to produce hydrogen and have oil and gas. And it's for a specific reason that we'll be able to touch on. Now, the second question after, can these two coexist, is how do we make the most? How can we drive value from all these critical commodities that are with us? We know that the oil industry is tried and tested, but however, we are cognizant that it's a sunset. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's happening. We know that the green hydrogen is not fully tried and tested, but it's the sunrise. It's the new kid in the block. Now, we can move faster to make the most of all these two commodities. But how do we do that? We need to ask ourselves as a nation, what are our key priorities for this country? Is it energy security? Is it energy efficiency? Is it energy poverty? Or is it decarbonization and the transition agenda? Is it climate change? What do we really want out of this? And that question is very, very important because it sets the tone on how you develop both these two commodities. And I go by saying that energy poverty is real, is indeed real, and we need to address it. However, climate change is inevitable. And we are suffering, whether we say we are not the biggest emitter, whether we say that we are not transitioning from anything, it is affecting us. The Honourable Minister had alluded to that. But what I want to add to his speech of saying that we are affected is, I want to give you a practical example. Where does our electricity come from in Namibia? One, is generated in Namibia. Two, is imported. Now, depending on the demand, determines how much we are going to import. So, if you are not sure of global warming or climate change, when we receive less rainfall and our Rakana hydropower receives less water to generate enough electricity, you are forced to go and borrow more. Those are the consequences of climate change. Agriculture, when you don't have rainfall, not long ago I asked my mother to send me mahangu because my little boy likes drinking oshikundo. She told me there's no mahangu and there's no way we can cut because not a lot of people have harvested mahangu. Why is that? Because there's less rainfall. So it's important to marry these two, to balance the two, that yes, we have energy poverty as we are going to develop our sources, but at the same time be cognizant of climate change because it affects us. And now, just putting our eggs in one basket is dangerous. That brings about the Dutch disease that everybody is talking about. Shiwana made alluded to the Dutch disease. Bemaki in some point of conferences also made the mention to it, say that now because of oil and gas, everybody is going to abandon their mahangu fields. We don't want to do that, and it has happened. We have seen countries, I don't mean to talk bad, like countries like Nigeria, they have oil and gas in abundance. But I guarantee you, you can enter a lift in Nigeria and you are guaranteed 90% for it to stack. Why? Power issues. They have all the resources so it is not a solution to everything. Now, what is the role of hydrogen in the oil and gas sector? This is very important to understand. Amid the climate agenda of energy transition, we need to know that Namibia does not live on an island. And Namibia is a child of international solidarity. Namibia do international trade. What does this mean? The Europeans have come up with a mechanism called the CBAM. What does CBAM mean? It means Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. This means that for clients in Europe to buy commodities in Africa, for example, they are going to charge you heavily based on the amount of carbon that commodity carries. It's their law. Do you want to trade with them? Yes. So if you're going to trade with them, it's imperative to make sure that your commodities have low carbon. And this is not the European alone. The CBAM is starting in Q4 already, although the taxation commenced in 2026. So meaning it's already here. So even if we have our oil and gas and we need to trade it, they will judge it based on the carbon content that it has. It's a reality. So you need hydrogen for that to make sure that the carbon in those products that we are developing is reduced. China and India, they are coming up also with a new legislation that the tax that they give you is equivalent to the CO2 that is emitted, whether in your process or in the commodity that you have reduced. Now, you might look at that poster. At the far end there, it says Total Energies Sustainable Partner. What does that tell you? Total is one of the renowned oil and gas companies. So they are investing in hydrogen. They've transitioned from an oil and gas to an energy company. You can talk of Equinor, you can talk of Petronas, a lot of them. So why is it that we are unable to do it in Namibia? Therefore, the large oil and gas companies, they are the biggest investors in the green industry. Why? They are hedging because they know the industry is in the twilight. So, and we shouldn't be obvious to saying that no, us, we are just going to keep our oil and gas. Excuse me, Madam Commissioner. Now, oil revenue, yes, can subsidize the green industry in order to build new industries. And why am I saying this? What kind of industries is it going to build? One, the synthetic fuels, that is the alternative fuels. When you play soccer, you are told that a run triggers a pass. You need to show that you are running before somebody can give you the ball. You can't just wait for somebody to give you the ball. So meaning the industry is moving. So we need to move and create industry. We might not have vehicles currently using methane or ethane or ships that are using that, but we need to create already so that those can come. All right? Fuels, aluminium smelting, zinc smelting, steel, pig iron. All these are industries that can come from the green economy. Now, what does this mean? It means different factories. In the Lutres, you have the oil, you have the green hydrogen, you have the steel production. This means we have new products, we have diversification of export sources, we have new jobs, direct and indirect, and we have new revenues. You are diversified. Now, look at what has happened. Currently, we have about 63 Namibian people at master's level that have been trained in oil and gas. 63 since 1993. I'm taking out undergraduates. Those people, almost all of them are recruited, except maybe for 3. So if you are going to say that oil and gas is going to recruit a lot of people, where are those people going to come from? Secondly, to quantify that, green hydrogen, we gave out scholarships, 90 of them, to prepare for the industry. Why? Because we need to build capacity for Namibia. This oil and gas industry, I'm a trained petroleum reservoir engineer. They take place offshore Namibia. They don't recruit a lot of people. But the green economy, because it's on land, the number of people recruited is a lot. Deva, with your permission, let me just run through quickly. All right. So that's the point that I wanted to say, that with the green economy is helping NASAF, is helping Petrofund. Petrofund is doing their part, NASAF is doing their part. The green energy also can do their part by educating and also creating jobs. So I will skip through the case studies of where hydrogen is used. Hydrogen is being used for blending natural gases. Why? It increases overall efficiency because hydrogen burns hotter than methane, but also reducing the emissions. This, you can use hydrogen. It has presented us with an opportunity to make sure that even if we have assets for oil and gas, they will not end up being stranded because you can still reuse them for the hydrogen economy. I'll skip about the carbon capture. And we can use the hydrogen to power the offshore platforms for the oil and gas to reduce the carbon emissions. Remember when I talked about the CBAM, so that when we trade our oil, it has less carbon content. It's still the same. In the refineries, hydrogen is used in the refineries to lower the sulfur content so that our petrol or our diesel has lower content of lead or sulfur, hence environmental friendly. But therefore, I'm not doing justice to my presentation. So, the last but not least, this one is very important and the Commissioner can attest. There is what we call enhanced oil recovery. So this oil that has been discovered, it can be taken out in different forms, whether natural, drive, or enhanced oil mechanism. Natural drive, it means with the natural pressure, the oil will be removed, but there will become a point where the pressure is low. You can use hydrogen to inject those things to uplift or to help the field perform. I would like to end by this slide of saying that as much as there are also benefits that have been highlighted in the oil and gas, there are those that are also in the green industry. So I want to leave you with this slide as in what is really the end goal of this green industry. The end goal for the green industry, that it gives us opportunity to create primary, secondary, and tertiary sector. Why is this important? So far, we have just been stuck in the primary sector, whereby we just dig up things and we sell them. We dig up things and there is no beneficiation. They don't give value to us. But with the green industry, we are presented with an opportunity whereby when we move in the secondary, we start making things. We have lithium-ion batteries for the energy transition, and then the tertiary, where we are able to trade these commodities. So we will control the whole value chain to become the energy hub of Africa. Now, I want to leave you with this statement. Just 30 seconds. This statement Running away from you. Just 30 seconds.
20.
All right. It's in my mother tongue, Nyemba. It says, Wandunge wandunge, kuwesindunge uliameso ove. What it means is, there was a time there were two blind people. It's derived from the Christian narrative. Jesus Christ came, and Jesus Christ gave them 4 meat in one plate. Then Jesus says, if you have, with knowledge, basically says, with knowledge, without knowledge, you will eat your own eyes. One blind man took the meat and put in his eye, and he saw. The other one put in the mouth and he ate. He went for the second time, he put in the eye, he saw. The other one ate. So these two blind people, it's the African continent and the Western. We all find ourselves blind, leading each other in the energy transition because everyone is driving what suits them. But without knowledge and understanding, we will end up eating our own eyes and not see. We'll end up eating the vision of Namibia because we are just sticking to just doing oil and not to diversifying with the green economy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.